Hey there YouTube, this is Evil Joe with TeamEDM coming to you with, I decided to do the deck profile for the deck I took to YCS Atlanta, just because I could, and mostly just to have a record of exactly what deck I played, since I've already switched over several of my files over to the Super Corner Monarchs, so it's just also is partly just a record for what I played. So I'll go over the deck. If there's anything that outlandish, I'll go over it really quickly. Take everything you hear in here with a grain of salt if you're looking for the best build, because like I said in the last video, I only went 5-3-1. So that's not even day 2. Yeah, I lost in the final round of day 1, did not make day 2, but even if I had won that round, I wouldn't have topped the event. So yeah, just take everything with a grain of salt. So yeah, we start off with stuff. 3 Idia, that's pretty obvious, and 3 Hados. Frankly, with this build, I didn't mind drawing these that much. I ran a few more one tribute monsters than a lot of people run. And domain, if you get domain, it doesn't matter that you drew this. As long as they don't favor this, you're still pretty much fine. If they do favor it, then you're kind of screwed. But if you favored anything, you're kind of screwed. Unless it's your one tribute monsters, then you don't really care. Next we have 3 Erebus, because it's Erebus. 3 Ether, because it's Ether. Then we go 2 Majesty's Fiend. Bless. Sorry about that. So 2 Majesty's Fiends, Vanity's Fiend, and Caius. To round out the monsters, I didn't run Kuraz because I hated drawing it. And just, there weren't any times where I just had that many extra cards on board to pop, because it's really, you run the Kuraz to pop your own extra stuff to get draws. It's also slightly good in disruption, but these are just better in disruption purposes. The only bad part is these can't be summoned off of Ether, but that's perfectly fine. And then Kai's is just good removal. So yeah. Then we got 3 Tenacity, 3 Stormforth, 3 Domain, 3 Destiny Draw, March and Return, Forest Burial, and I mained 1 Twin Twister, just because there are a few people that main any spell, and yeah, mostly it was for main deck any spells. I didn't face any decks like that. Like, I didn't face any Burning Best or Cosmo, which are the 2 decks that already do that. At the Cosmo that got first place in Swiss mained, I think, 2 or 3 any spells. So yeah, but I just didn't face those. I just didn't. So that's mostly what that's for. Then we got Escalation, because it's really good, especially in the mirror. This is really almost crucial in the mirror. So yeah. Then we got 3 Primes. It's Prime. This is basically, I just said D-draw for the Pantheism. This is basically malicious. You kind of don't like it when you draw it. You want to dump it. But if you do draw it, you can always just pitch. It's the best thing to pitch with Pantheism, because it's really doesn't have that much use outside of the grave. Probably cutting it down to 2, but 3 worked just fine. I sided out the 3rd most of the time, but for game 1, 3 was just fine. So yeah. And then rounding out the traps is 3 Solemn Strike and Solemn Warning. So I did this over hand traps because in the format, different hand traps affected different decks. Like Vader is really good against Monarchs, and only somewhat effective against Pepe, while Max C is really good against Pepe, and only somewhat effective, not effective really at all against Monarchs. And just neither one is good against Cosmo. Let's face it, neither one's good against Cosmo. Hand traps suck against Cosmo. So I went with these because these hurt everything universally. So what I ended up doing is I ended up just deciding I'm going to go first. More often than not, hopefully I get some of these and I can set them. And I can play with this. So I did that instead of hand traps. The only real regret I had with this, besides the fact that I misplayed a couple times, is just the fact that this took up 4 spots in the deck, basically, which meant I didn't have room for a card that I really wanted to play, because as people know, this deck bricks a lot, so you have to keep this deck at 40 cards to try to keep the bricking down. And so by having to play 40 cards to try to keep bricking down, I wasn't able to, in running these, I wasn't able to play a card I really wanted to run, and that was 1 for 1. So yeah, 1 for 1 would have been a lot more helpful. Would have been really helpful in a lot of situations. I mean, these were really good when I played them correctly. But just 1 for 1 is just so amazing. Side deck, because I obviously don't want an extra deck because this is Monarchs. So side deck, we have 3 Ghost Ogres, Galaxy Cyclone, second Twin Twister. This came in a lot more often than this. This only came in if it was a deck I knew was running a lot more back rows. Like, I don't really face any, but the Ariadne build of Pepe, or if I was facing Cosmo or Burning Abyss. Again, I didn't face any of these decks, so this really almost never got sided in. But I did side this in against the Magic Spectre deck I faced. But yeah, this came in quite often. This did not, just because this was only meant for trap heavy decks, and I didn't face that many of those. Then we got 3 Night Dracolich. It did alright. Not really. It really didn't do as good as I was really hoping for. I was really hoping it'd be kind of like a power move. I put this in because in the testing I had done, mostly at the regionals, that I did last week, I found that I hated getting stuck behind boards of Infinity Rafflesia Pistolor, or any combination of that. Like if it was just Infinity Pistolor or Infinity Rafflesia, I really hated getting stuck behind that. So I threw these into the side deck because it's just a 1 card out to that. But really, yeah, it wasn't as good as I needed it to be. Unfortunately, it just wasn't as good as I needed it to be. So yeah, it did win me, I think, like 1 game, just because the opponent just had to spend so much time trying to find an out to it. But overall, it just wasn't worth it. Then we got 3 Fog Kings for the mirror. I faced 2 mirrors, sighted them in, never saw them. So yeah, I don't know. In the testing, it was really good, but I don't know if I'll stay in or not when I switch to Super Quantums. Just don't know yet. Then we got 2 breakthrough skills. This was mostly for the mirror, so that I could either fight opposing Fog Kings, or I could just have extra negation against the Monarchs. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't think of anything right there. So just extra effect negation against all their big things, and against Fog King, it's just really amazing. Then we got 1 Jinzo. I did this for Satellars and Burning Abyss and partially Cosmo. I don't know if this will keep getting sighted in against Cosmo, but against Satellars and Burning Abyss, I really like this card because their way of fighting the meta is to just throw a whole bunch of traps at you, and if you can shut that off, they don't really have an out. In fact, especially neither one really runs a lot of spells, and that's how they get away with running 3 anti-spell fragrance. So if you can put this out against them, it's just something that is really tough for them to get around, especially if you got the field spell in March. If you got the field spell in March with this out against Burning Abyss or Satellars, more Satellars than Burning Abyss, because Burning Abyss does love their Twin Twisters because of the pluses. They usually run 3, but Satellars only usually do like 1 or 2 Twin Twisters. So you put this out against them, and they just go, oh crap, because they just don't have enough outs to it. And then this was for Cosmo and Mirror, just for and Mermails. Just this thing's just big, and it allows me to look at my opponent's hand and rip important pieces out. It didn't really do its job. Well, I didn't really face the matchups, like I keep saying. I think I drew it once in my 2 Monarch mirrors. I drew it once, and I summoned it, looked at my opponent's hand, and there was nothing good to discard. So I don't know if I'll stay in or not. I like it. I really like this card, but I don't know if I'll stay in. So yeah, that's the deck. My matchups were 5 Pepe. Went 4-0-1 against Pepe. 2 mirror matches. Lost them both. And that's really kind of strange because I did regional last week, and I continued doing some testing throughout the weekend before, and I did some testing throughout the week just to get everything. And through my testing, I beat mirror matches more often than I was beating Cosmo. So I did make several deck changes to try to give myself more positive. Not Cosmo. I was beating mirror matches more often than I was beating Pepe, which at the Atlanta I went 4-0-1 against, and Monarchs I went 0-2 against. And in testing, I was doing better against Monarchs than I was against Pepe, and so I knew I was going to face a lot more Pepe. So I did make some changes, but I didn't. All the changes I made were also changes that are still effective against the mirror. So I was really kind of surprised that I just did that badly against the mirror, because that's not how the testing went. I was testing that I was not doing good against Pepe, I was doing good against Monarchs, but it was complete opposite at the event. And then I had Magicians round 1, and so yeah, I won that one. Then I've the other decks. Let's see, so that was 5, 7, 8. Oh yeah, and then the Magic Spectre deck, and that's the final deck. That's the other different deck I faced, and I did really well game 1, Brit game 2, Brit game 3. I want to say Brit game 2, like I had plays, he had the answer. For the few plays I had, I only drew one Tribute Summonable monster that game 2, and he had the counter for it. And game 3, I was the worst brick I had at the tournament. Of the main event of the tournament, I had even worse in side events. Like my side event experience was just terrible and just made me hate everything. But yeah, so those were my matchups. So yeah, let me know what you think. This is changing like a lot with Super Quantums coming out, and so I'll probably make a deck profile. I don't know if I'll make a deck profile of that. I'm just putting up a few videos for right now, but just because I am currently playing, but I don't know how long that'll last. But this was the deck I took to YCS Atlanta. So until next time, TeamEDM, and I am out.